Hello, welcome to the Sisaundra Show. I'm so thankful you all are tuned in for another great show. Now, I hope today has been nothing short of amazing and you are now able to relax, kick your feet up, and y'all know what we do, grab your favorite beverage. In other words, let's get this show started. Today's guest is an all-around multi-instrumentalist. He's a producer, songwriter, and one of the world's most known praise and worship leaders. Join and help me give a warm welcome to six-time Grammy Award-winning musician, Mr. Israel Houghton.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for
Great to be with you.
coming.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, you are very welcome. I just want to say, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about where you're from. I'm
from Oceanside, California originally. I was born in Oceanside. I was raised primarily in Arizona, and now my wife and I live in Los Angeles and New York. So we're truly bi-coastal.
You're tri-coastal or bi-coastal?
Bi-coastal.
You're bi-coastal.
Yeah.
So after you began your career, at what point did you say, "Oh my God, it's happening"?
I don't know, because for a while there I didn't know I had a career. I was 19. I was the worship leader. I was the drummer in our team at church, and they asked me to consider being the worship leader, and I was like, why would you give all that responsibility to a 19-year-old?
All right.
And but they saw something that I didn't see, and I think I meet a lot of people now who are like, I'm going to be a worship leader, and I'm going to do a record, I'm going to go on tour, and I'm going to be famous, and like they've got it all mapped out. And like when I first started, we didn't even know that was possible.
Wow.
Like we had never really seen an example of be a worship leader in a church, write some songs. Somebody's going to hear those songs. They're going to play them in their church, and then next thing you know, you're going to
would you say
have
you're
a
the
career.
Pioneer of all of that?
No. I mean, looking back,
To a certain extent, I think you're being modest.
I've since been able to meet a lot of heroes of mine who really were that chain and allowed me to be a link in the chain for sure. But I think I was pretty deep into a career before I realized,
I think that's the most beautiful way to do it. Yes, that you're doing the work.
Yeah.
You're just doing the work of the Lord,
right.
And He's starting to bless you. It's not because you're doing it to gain something.
That's right. I can honestly say that I went into this with a very pure expression and pure motivation. I just wanted to encourage people on Sunday mornings at our church, and it has organically grown from that, 30 years later, still doing it. It's wild.
Well, you have gone from encouraging people to living that dream that so many want, earning the awards, being on the shows. And the most beautiful thing about you standing in that space is your integrity. How does it feel to be there and have that kind of responsibility?
I will say, this time around, we just got back from the Grammys a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Being nominated again. And it was the first time that I had put a project out independently. So, I meet a lot of people now who are like, how do I get into the industry? And I was like, listen, most people in the industry are trying to get out of it.
It's so true,
You're trying to get up out. You're trying to own it. So,
right.
So that was really gratifying and encouraging to be nominated this time around. After, a lot of things have happened in my life, a lot of changes, and to still be standing and
Amen.
To still be giving all glory to Jesus.
Yes.
There's nothing like it, and to just see His hand upon our ministry and and these songs has just been amazing to see God at work. It really has.
It really is. Now that you've reached this pinnacle in your life, your career, do you feel fulfilled?
I do. I feel incredibly fulfilled, and I will say that I have felt fulfilled for quite some time.
That's amazing.
And I couldn't say that before. And again, like I said, I had a pretty public life transformation and crash.
Yes, you did.
And when I met and married Adrian, it was as if I was able to kind of quietly retire from from the treadmill that I was on before.
Wow.
And to now just do the things that I want to do, that I feel I'm supposed to do, and every other area of my life is fulfilled.
It's wow.
And she has so much to do with that. So
now, when you say you were going to retire, is it music? Or you just kind of retired in the sense of
well, I kept using that word.
Demand.
I kept using that word quietly at home. I'm retired, and I kind of, I said no to a lot of offers and opportunities, and just said I want to stay home. My motivation anymore is I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to be a great husband today.
Aww.
I'm going to be a good friend to my friends. I'm going to be a
Yes.
good father to my kids. And I'm going to be a good citizen, a good believer.
Well, I'll just say we get to live vicariously through you and your lovely wife on social media. And you are certainly goals in such a beautiful way. The way that you show your love, the way that you spend time with your friends and everything that you do. And although you may say you're retiring, there may be something on the horizon.
No, there's a lot of things on the horizon. I can't use that word anymore. I mean, I did kind of clarify it on my wife's talk show. I just said, listen, I retired from the chase of it, like from the ambition of it.
Yes.
Like I'm not chasing anything anymore. If God opens doors that I know He's opened, I'm going to walk through them. But I've never been a kick the door down, thirsty for opportunity type of person anyway. So it's been very gratifying to just sort of rest and really spend time with God and hear, what He wants me to do. And then it's not work. See, like, I feel like when you retire, you stop working. None of this feels like work to me. It's a privilege, it's a calling, it's a cause.
Amen.
So
it's an anointing that just fills your life with so much. Now, there's this feeling or perception that celebrities are perfect.
Yeah.
And flawless.
Yeah.
How do you deal with people in letting them know that, they forget that you're human?
Well, I run, I sprint, I sprint away from the celebrity word, just because I think that is the thing, is like when people see celebrities having a bad day or having a human moment, there is this immediate, that's why cancel culture is so prevalent right now.
Very
because
much
I
so.
am disappointed in you and
you're done.
You're dead to me. And so I do kind of run from that. But at the same time, I think it is important. I feel like we're living in a day and age, social media has certainly helped this, where those who are going to be okay with being open and honest and transparent, those are the ones that are going to actually live a fulfilled life.
Oh, I love that. You just said a big word, transparency.
Yeah.
It's so important to be transparent. Can you just talk a little bit more about that, regardless of what field you're in, when you're in that space, being transparent?
Sure. I mean, anybody who's leading, like, I shied away from being the leader. Like, I don't want to say I don't trust people, but like, people who want to be in charge. But
doesn't the Bible say trust, don't trust man? Okay.
But like people who are like, I want to be in charge, it's like, that's amazing to me. Like I would never ask for that job.
No.
The fact that God kept putting me there was like, all right, I guess I got to do it, but reluctantly. And so the idea of, leading people and setting that example, there is going to be an expectation of leaders or celebrities, like you said. And I think just the idea of saying, hey guys, I struggle. I live in this world like everybody else.
Exactly.
I'm just as frustrated with some of the things you're frustrated with. I may have a differing opinion on what you believe or think or where you stand politically or whatever, but like we could still be human.
Exactly.
We could still be kind to each other.
Yes.
We can agree to disagree on things and
still
we
be
can
okay.
we could maybe put the emphasis on what do we collectively believe, and let's go with that. Let's celebrate that.
Well, I believe in love, so we're going to take a short break. We are here with the one and only Mr. Israel Houghton. We'll be right back. Don't y'all go nowhere. Welcome back to the Sisaundra Show. I am here with one of the greatest worship leaders of our time, Mr. Israel Houghton. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Indeed, indeed. So let's jump into talking about relationships. You mentioned your lovely wife earlier. It's very rare to have a healthy relationship. How do you all, what makes your marriage work? Because y'all are working it.
We are. I mean, we're intentional about our relationship for sure. Yeah, we had to kind of fight for it at the beginning because there were a lot of people who were just like, yeah, we don't see it, we don't get it. And, you know, and we were like, that's fine, but we just know what we have.
Right.
And it's funny, like years later to have people come back around going, yeah, I was one of the ones saying horrible things about you online, and I'm really sorry because, like, you guys have something that's great. How do we make it work? I think, you know, again, when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. But I mean, we do. I mean, you could have the nicest car in the world, but you still have to change the oil in it.
It's so true.
And so
come on.
I think there's still a level of maintenance, conversation, transparency, like we talked about before.
Yes.
It's the first, this is no disrespect to any other relationship I was ever in, but this is the first honest relationship I've ever had in my life.
Do you think it took the evolution of the others to get you
Definitely.
to be honest? I can
100%.
believe that.
But it also took a Puerto Rican woman like Adrian
Like,
going,
yes.
the only way we're going to work is if we're honest with each other about everything.
Everything.
And it has been so freeing. Like, you know, I did a record a few years ago called Damascus, The Road to Damascus, to take the mask off.
Yes.
Which was
I
really
love that
wild
album.
that 2 years later we're all wearing masks for 2 years. But when I did that record, it was really, that was very autobiographical in the sense of, you know, I'm at a place in my life where I'm no longer afraid of if somebody likes me or doesn't. I'm so unmoved by the praise and in the same way unmoved by the criticism. So I don't live by either one. I live by, you know, what God says about me, what my wife thinks about me, and the people that are in my life that know me, flaws and all.
That truly know you. And you know what? It's so important to say that because you are seen by millions of people, and if you took the time to try to care about what each and every one of them said, you would be a wreck.
You can't.
We all would be. So you have to find that place of comfort that you say, you know what, this is my world. I got my wife, I got my kids, I got all of this. God is good.
Matter of fact,
and we stay there.
One of the words I live by along those lines is don't take anything personal from people that don't know you personally. Isn't that good?
That's powerful.
As simple as that is, like it is, that has been very, very freeing. So it enables me to be in a very, very honest, upfront, up close, accountable relationship with my wife, and that has made all the difference in
the world.
In the world,
it's
absolutely.
amazing. So aside from creating heartfelt gospel music, you are known for creating cross-cultural, high energy and upbeat praise and worship music that people can do, and they just praise the Lord in the craziest of ways. Oh my goodness, how did you find your niche? Was it something that just as soon as you started, it was like, this is just...
it's been a road of discovery. I think when I first started out and kind of was offered recording contracts and things of that nature, you know, I sat down with people who basically said, you're not black enough for this box, and you're not white enough for this box. So you don't really fit in gospel and you don't really fit in CCM. So what are you going to do? And I remember saying, after having so many of these conversations, I remember saying to this expert in Nashville, I said, I'm going to buy a bulldozer and make my own road.
Wow.
And he just looked at me like,
I love it.
Okay, well, what does that mean? I said, listen, I'm not going to bend myself to the industry that's not bending. I'm going to make that industry bend to me.
I love it. That's powerful, and that's exactly what you did.
And it's exactly what we've seen God do.
The Lord.
Absolutely.
Come on, as my mama would say.
Absolutely.
So what is the artistic process, you know, that you go through when you're creating?
I think in that regard, it was like, I'm just going to do the music that I feel comes naturally to me and that I resonate with, because if I do, then I can deliver that with conviction because it's authentic to me. And so I kind of, the new breed sound, as
My
it's
goodness.
come to be known, I guess, is
Not guess.
filled with
Let me take the guess out of that.
is filled with like fusion. It's like all
Yes.
kinds of different musical
Yes.
styles. I was told early on, don't play the guitar, it's not gonna, and I was like, I'm gonna play the guitar, I'm gonna do what I do, you know what I mean? And if it works, great, and if it doesn't, that's okay too, because I'm doing
What you love to
Yeah,
do. Exactly.
and I'm doing it authentically.
And we love what you do. So what message do you want to share through your music? I mean, I know, but for those people who are getting to know
I feel
you,
like,
what is the message?
I feel like you said it earlier. It's love. At the foundation of anything we do is love.
Yes.
And it's God's love for us. It's our response to that love. It's in all of the music. And then I think I took very seriously a challenge given to me when I first started, and that was, as a songwriter, you have to approach these songs like you're a theologian.
Yes.
And meaning, take the responsibility of what you're singing, what you're saying, because little kids who are 5 and 6 years old, I'm out touring right now. I have people come up to me every night going, my mom was playing you every day while I was growing up, and I know every song, and you're just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
I feel crazy old,
right?
but just to take seriously, like I'm writing something that's going to get into somebody's conscience, repetition, they're going to sing it over and over again. What am I asking them to sing along to? And so I really up front was like, labor over the lyric, make sure that you're saying something that could be timeless. I want to write songs like Andre Crouch did that 50 years later, they're still just as powerful. Yeah.
Well, that you have done. Your music is timeless. You are a household name, and you do it with such humility, and it's all done for the glory of God, and that just means everything.
Thank you.
You stated that growing up, it was very challenging for you to be multicultural.
Yeah.
What is something that you can tell the younger you about that challenge that you face?
I think my struggle, if we would call it that, was just, I knew I was different, but I didn't want to be different at the time.
You want to fit in.
Yeah, so I'm a black kid in a white family in a Hispanic church and community my whole life. So I was the odd guy out always, and I saw that as a challenge.
And not being chosen.
But now I see that as such a gift.
You're chosen.
Yeah, and I realized that, count it all joy when you just know you're not like anybody else.
Yes, but you don't understand. You just don't understand. Say it again. Count it all joy.
Count it all joy. And so what I would say to my younger self is, stay this course, man, and embrace being third culture, essentially. Like I just said, I didn't fit in this box, I didn't fit in this box, and God's like, I got an idea. Let's create something that has no walls on it at all, has no boundaries on it.
Unboxed.
And that's the kingdom thing, you know? And so I would encourage my younger self to embrace the difference and embrace the difference. Yeah.
I love that. I always ask our guests to share one of their favorite quotes, and you said something earlier about don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Would you share that quote with us again? It's so powerful.
Yeah, you can't take things personally from people who don't know you personally. And I think this whole social media era that we're in has really emboldened people to, if I wanted to, Sisaundra, I could go online and go, I heard this about this person.
Right.
And it could be completely fabricated.
Correct.
It could be completely made up. And I could ruin somebody's day, if not their life.
If not their life, exactly.
And so I just go, man, the things that people have said to me online would never say that if I was standing there.
No.
Never.
No.
And so I just realized I can't take anything personally. I can't edit myself based on somebody who's in a basement in South Carolina with a phone.
And I think you get it that to whom much is given, much is required.
And you know what? I love that quote. And yet it has always been said, to whom much is given, much is required. And I'm like, to whom much is given is where I put the emphasis.
On the giving.
What a blessing.
I love that.
Like if I have been given this calling, if I have been given this platform, if I have been given any semblance of influence,